What is up, my Gaggle of Geeks, and welcome to tonight's episode where we're going to be talking about a bevy of things where we just got news that the Furiosa prequel is coming, and not with Charlize Theron. We've got New Mutants news because we live in a Groundhog's Day where we constantly get news about New Mutants and when they're going to release the movie and if it will ever come out. And we've got our first ever movie court. So stay tuned for all of that. As always, I've got my co-host here, Chaz. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Oh, good. How's your week been?
Well, it's been a week.
I think because now Utah has switched down to yellow, or is planning to, right?
I think they already have. I think starting Saturday, right at 12 in the morning.
Yeah. So I mean, there's more positive energy in the air. I don't know if like people should be out like, licking popsicles and handing them to each other or something, but I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about that and introduce our very special guest because I've been wanting her to be on the show for a very long time. She's essentially my mentor when it comes to being in this industry with movie critics. I'm still introducing you. Hang on. And she is a film producer, director, and event coordinator. She currently owns Cameron Walker Productions. She's also a radio host on B98.7. You can catch her on that. And she's on our show now. Welcome, Valerie Cameron. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? A couple of things have changed in that. Oh, thank you. In that introduction, I don't own Cameron Walker Productions anymore because I'm no longer a Walker. So,
gotcha. The hyphen
so that's
down.
not a thing anymore. But it used to be a thing, and you worked with me and for me, and that was a really fun time. We did a lot of really cool events together. But so yeah, focusing on radio right now and podcasts and movies and film criticking. Is that a thing? Film criticking? I just go around film criticking.
I think that's a good word for it. I think the thing that I really respect about you is when you were the event coordinator for the Utah Pride Festival. It was 2017, I believe.
2016, yeah.
2016. And yeah, that was a crazy thing just to watch you go. I felt like it was have you watched Veep?
I've watched a couple episodes of Veep, yeah.
I felt like I was one of the White House staff, just run and do the stuff, hurry.
We had to do some crazy things at that event. I've done a lot of events in my life, and that one, we did a lot of really crazy things at that event. Yeah, it was outdoor. Outdoor events are a little more, intricate and crazy than the indoor events, but it was a lot of fun. But the fact that I made you do some things that you probably won't ever have to do in your life again, you're hoping.
I don't think I'll ever have to laminate as many things at a FedEx as I that I had to do with those. But it was so cool to get the learning experience of just like thinking on your feet and like creative problem solving. Like you can't learn that stuff just going and studying at school. You've got to be in a crazy situation and have to figure out a way to get past it. So thank you again for being on the show. And I'm going to close this window really quick because holy crap, there's a gardener that's doing crazy stuff.
I did want to mention that the whole state is not yellow, by the way. There are only certain counties that are yellow as of Saturday morning. So don't go crazy, Salt Lake County. Salt Lake County is not in yellow. So is it more of like he's letting the district decide and there's no executive order for it? They picked locations that are, the numbers are going down and it's a lower risk right now. But I mean, there are still a lot of restaurants in pretty much every county that you can go to. You can now, get into bigger groups of people, but people got to be smart. Do not do what Patrick said and lick popsicles and hand them to people. You should never, that should just be a general practice of things you never do.
I got that from the new Parks and Rec special that they did. They were like,
I haven't
because of
watched
COVID, we
yet.
have to cancel the annual Pawnee popsicle licking pass.
I haven't watched that yet. I keep getting razzed that I have never watched Parks and Rec before.
Whoa, never.
That's on my list. No, it's actually so movies that make us. All of our listeners keep razzing me, and so do my co-hosts that I haven't watched Parks and Rec or Community. So there's actually a poll up on our Facebook page to see which one I should watch first. And the last time I checked, they were tied. So that's not really helpful for me because I need to know which one I should start with.
Well, the Movies Make Us podcast, that plug that a little bit. And also you've got a new podcast up that revolves around Disney.
Yeah, so Movies That Make Us is basically we talk about movies that kind of make our lives, right? So those movies that have made us who we are and make us who we are. And that's been almost a little over a year and a half, I think now we've been doing that. And Tracy and Jake are on there with me. They are fantastic guys. And we are all pretty different personalities, but we kind of break down movies. Usually there's some singing involved due to Tracy. But that's fun. And then Multiplane Podcast is all things Disney. So we talk about Disney movies, Disney TV shows, Disney entities. We just got done talking about Bob Iger's book that came out, which is one of my favorite listens of last year, and I just listened to it again. If you want a mentor and somebody to look up to and really like follow their life, Bob Iger is amazing. So yeah, I would recommend his book to anybody. So that's kind of what I'm up to.
So cool. Definitely check those out. We're going to plug them again by the end of this for sure. But let's, I guess, jump into the first bit of news, which is the main story for this first bit, is George Miller confirms that the next Mad Max film is a Furiosa prequel. But it's kind of like deja vu, Chaz, because we've already talked about this a little bit, because they had Anya Taylor-Joy as a potential. But they're saying it's without Charlize Theron. For sure, this isn't going to be like a flashback or anything like that. Start with either one of you. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think a prequel is the right direction? He said George Miller wanted to make a new Mad Max film. Is this the new thing he's doing?
I'll let Valerie go.
Oh, okay. I mean, why not do a prequel and why not do it on her? I understand if it's a prequel, why Charlize Theron would not be a good choice because, I mean, you should choose somebody that's younger because they're probably going to do her origin story, which I think is interesting. I didn't care for Mad Max Fury Road. I know I'm probably going to get a little hate for that, but I thought it was an okay movie. I thought it was visually...
You motherfucking accuser!
Sorry, I can't.
Sorry, on my other shows, I'm not allowed
the best?
to use
we
that
can
word.
Swear and we can do anything on this. I forgot to mention that to you.
Yeah, I'm on radio in the morning in Utah. I can't swear, and then I'm on these other shows.
This podcast would burn to the ground if I didn't put some sound effect disproving that.
Yeah, I think there were some interesting choices made that I liked in Fury Road, but as a whole of the movie, like I don't think I would ever need to watch it again. You know what I mean? Like I respect the movie. There were things about it that I liked, that visually it was stunning and there were a lot of cool visual things, but all in all I was kind of bored with the movie. But her story I'm interested in. I think she was one of the most interesting things about that movie, other than the guy coming in with the guitar like that, you know.
Ooh,
that was
the
pretty
Doof
cool.
Warrior.
Yeah, like other than that, and everybody like spraying their mouth on social media for like months afterwards, that was pretty interesting.
That's going to become a new TikTok challenge soon once this movie comes out.
Yeah, no, I think they're making a good choice because I just think that his story's boring, and I think her story, there's definitely something there. I want to know how she got there, and yeah, so I think, yeah, that's great. And of course we can't have Charlize because she's going to be too old for that part. So.
Well, Mad Max has had 4 films now where it's focusing on him as a character. And Chaz, you were in favor of Anya Taylor-Joy possibly taking over. Is that still kind of your thoughts? Do you, now that you know that it's for sure, what do you think about casting-wise, who they should go with?
Yeah, I think she's a very underrated actress. And she's young enough to fit that role if they're going to go back that far. I imagine they're probably going to explain her arm missing, but I kind of wonder if that's necessary or if it's already missing then too, you know, to add more to the world. But like Valerie was saying, is that like this movie, the prequel will at least let us explore more of the world that they've already set up instead of having to see it through some guy who grunts most of the movie in a very Tom Hardy fashion.
Yeah.
Here,
That's great.
Tom Hardy and his goddamn accent. That's the one thing. Like, we're gonna put out a Capone review later on, but my God, that man does not. He doesn't
Does
waste
anybody
any.
know what his real voice sounds like?
British. I think
Do
he's British.
we know that for sure?
That narrows it
Like,
down. His British can be so many different Britishes. His
Like
British
Johnny
in
Depp
Inception,
British or like actual British?
I
or
think
it's Capone British, which was insane because it shouldn't have been British, but it sounded British.
Yeah, because like I watched one interview with him, and his voice was actually higher pitched than I anticipated, because I think he goes lower for like the American accent. But yeah, no, his accents are interesting. But going back to Mad Max though, I saw that movie I think 6 times in IMAX.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of that.
I have a big poster if you want it, because I could care less.
I mean, if you're gonna get rid of it, I'll totally take it.
I would take that up.
It's
Yeah,
storage somewhere.
I think actually
it.
I have a poster of Mad Max from you that I got from your office at one point.
Yeah.
I'm excited though for this. That's I guess that's all. I'm curious to see where Furiosa comes from, because like Fury Road did touch on like there was a lot of strong females in that movie. So I'm curious to see how how George Miller is able to handle that aspect. I mean, he handled a pig quite well with Babe Pig in the City. So I imagine that he could take on any element that he wishes.
Well, he's got a lot of choices as far as like talent goes. There's tons of Disney Channel stars. As far as Anya Taylor-Joy, she's got a lot to. Maybe they should wait and hold off until New Mutants comes out, which I guess is the perfect segue into the next story. When the fuck is New Mutants coming out? When?
Listen, I
They
don't
keep
think
changing
it's their
it.
fault,
No,
man.
we have to preface that
The world has stopped. Like, you're gonna get mad at them because the world has stopped? Like you're ridiculous. They can't even really foresee dates right now. They're saying, okay, we think at this point, but it's like they're getting predictions from all of these bigger ups that are getting predictions. So like, it's not really their fault, man.
But here's the thing. You have to define they, because there's been very many different theys involved with New Mutants. Like, Fox did not really handle their release dates very well with it either. Them promising reshoots and promising all kinds of different stuff. Disney taking over, also promising reshoots, but apparently that maybe COVID prevented that. And now they've got the release that's going to be in August from what we're seeing. I really, what's the percentage that you think that this will come out during that time frame? And I know it's kind of up in the air in some cases, but it's also a show, so we can wildly speculate.
I mean, I think it'll definitely come out between like August and September. But this, like, it should be Disney Plus, right? Because what I see of this movie does not look like it should be on the big screen.
That's what I was going to ask, because I know a lot of people have narrowed down what is causing it to being just like studio having ties to it and certain promises already made before the deal was done with Disney and Fox. But Chaz, do you think they should just put it out? Like, what do they stand to lose at this point? Everybody's chomping at the bit for new content and is really, really... Trolls World Tour made a lot of money somehow. I think it could do the same with...
Yeah, but this movie is not Trolls World Tour. The thing about this movie is that what is it following when you look at the Marvel Disney timeline? It's Trolls is a whole bunch of kids and their parents are sick of them being at home. So they're going to rent this movie to shut them up all weekend, or buy this movie to shut them up all weekend. They're going to be singing it and they're going to be great. This is not a cartoon. So you've got nerds like us that have been waiting for this to come out, and we're going to compare it to everything that we just saw last year on the big screen from Marvel. You know, even though I don't think that
I'm sure we
the
would
new
compare.
Spider-Man
I wouldn't compare it
movie-
to Endgame. Like, given the circumstances.
Spider-Man that came after, I'm not going to compare it to Endgame, but I'm definitely going to put it in with Spider-Man. I didn't really like the latest Spider-Man movie, and that's huge for me to say because I love Spider-Man. He's like my favorite. It wasn't my favorite movie, but I don't think this is up to par with any of them. This to me looks like, and I know a lot of people went and saw what is that movie with the kids like all in the spandex, all different colored spandex? What's that?
Shazam?
No.
Is it-
No, it was like a TV show, and they're all wearing spandex and karate chopping each other.
That can be so many different things. that sounds
It
like
was a
Power
TV
Rangers
show they
to me
made into
suddenly.
a movie. Yeah, Power Rangers.
Is it Power
looks
Rangers?
like Power
Okay.
Rangers to me. And I know a lot of people love Power Rangers, and I know a lot of people went to that movie, but that's what this looks like to me. But Power Rangers does not fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so they need to make sure this is up to par, but they also have to make sure that they are following a timeline that was already set in place for phase 4 and the phases after. So you can't just say we need content, give them content. They're giving us Mandalorian. They're giving us a whole bunch of crap on Disney Plus. And if you noticed, I don't know if you guys pay attention, but the Disney stock for the first time in like 3 weeks went up today. So because they announced all of these things. There is more to this strategy than just we have to give our nerds content. Do you know what I mean? Because if they don't do it the right way, then their stock's going to go back down. They're not going to be able to do the things they want to do. And they've got so much content that they're juggling now that was supposed to come out 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Now they're going to go head to head with Mulan that's going to come out around that time. So like it's a lot of business and not a lot of fun right now. I would hate to be the person in charge of all this crap. Like seriously.
Chaz, do we forgive this person, this company for teasing us and giving the nerddom? I don't even want to call it blue balls because this isn't something that is tempting. It's just like Valerie said. It's just something that's there that people are curious about at this point because it's a myth. We don't know if it even exists anymore.
This kind of goes along with, like, I'm gonna tie it back into Capone in the sense that this has Trinkism written all over it, in the sense that it feels like there's so many reshoots and so much studio involvement that this is going to be a failure like Fantastic Four was. And
yeah, it feels like Fantastic Four to me.
Yeah, and kind of like what Valerie said, like there is no timeline established for like when this is supposed to be for the Phase 4. And I imagine, I'm not a huge comic book fan like Marvel was, but I imagine it's supposed to be in line with Morpheus, with Jared Leto's new thing that they're trying to set up. So I wonder, like she said, if this is just to get the stocks up and they're going to push it back again to release around that same time as Morpheus, maybe, if they're going to try to do that timing. Otherwise, like right now it just feels like a TV show, like a long, prolonged TV show, like a TV pilot.
Yeah, honestly, I think if they released it on Disney Plus, you're going to get a ton of teen fans that love this show. Yeah. You're going to get, some adult following as well. But I mean, they can still make good on this show. I just don't know if it's a box office show. I think we wouldn't have hated probably Fantastic Four as much as we would have if it would have just been, on Netflix or something like that. I mean, it was horrible. And oh my gosh, Michael B. Jordan, like I had so much hope for it, but it hurts my feelings thinking about how bad it was. I don't think this will be that bad. I just think that I don't really care right now. You know what I mean? Like This is not one, if it comes out and it's great, I'll be like, oh, that was a nice surprise. And if it comes out and it's not, it will be like it never happened and it's whatever, I don't care.
And keep in mind, the first release date for this film was going to be in 2018. So this has a lot of stale qualities to it, especially if they're trying to go for like
this has a lot
topical
of suck
jokes
written all over it.
It would be crazy if they had Harambe jokes and stuff, and they're like, "How do we get past this? There's no way we could tell a joke in 2020."
Members of the cast are like married and they've had kids by now. Like this.
Oh, Maisie Williams just straight up became an adult, a full adult, in the time that it took for this to be shot.
But has Josh Boone been very quiet about this project?
I'm not sure.
Because this is a follow-up from Fault in Our Stars for him, correct? Like this is his next feature after Fault in Our Stars?
Yes, it would be.
Are you sure?
That's why I'm asking. I don't know.
Josh Boone. I believe there was. Yeah, I think it is actually.
Okay.
Unless there's a short.
Oh, so okay, no. So he had The Fault in Our Stars. Then he had. So directing wise, yes, from The Fault in Our Stars, it goes to
For
the New
direct,
Mutants.
Yeah, the rest were
yeah,
he wrote some stuff, but
yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I thought I heard
you
his
could include
name
TV
floating
shows if you
around
want.
there.
He did The Stand,
Yeah.
The
but
Yeah.
stand's coming out this year in 10-part miniseries. But I mean, they kind of like if the mutants stains his image, kind of like how Fantastic Four stained Josh Trank, and ironically, they're both named Josh. I mean, like maybe this is
right.
just the Josh curse. Like then the stand's gonna go downhill, and like right now, Stephen King's had a lot of great miniseries coming out, and so. I don't know. I hope it doesn't. I hope it does well, but I don't have any hope for the New Mutants. And I'm
I
hoping to
didn't
be
mind A
surprised
Fault
by
in
it.
Our Stars.
Yeah.
My daughter loved that movie and that book, and I've watched it a couple of times, and it doesn't suck. Like it is what it was. It did exactly what it needed to do for the audience that it needed, and hopefully, that's what the Mutants does for us. But right now, just because of all the crap that it's been going through, I just don't care anymore. So
Yeah.
when it comes up and it totally blows me out of the water, I'll be like, hey, I was totally wrong. But I just don't think I'm going to be saying that.
What do you think the budget is for the New Mutants?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
Dun, 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 dun. We got to look it up. Phillips was handed a small $62.5 million budget, the lowest ever for a
Yeah.
modern era superhero pick. This was
Yeah.
never supposed to be something that was like we're gonna put all our bets on it,
Yeah.
and it never had confidence from the beginning.
But that's the thing is that's what Fox was doing with it, but Disney doesn't really make those movies. Do you know what I mean? Like they make everything that they know is going to be good, even though Doolittle was such a stinker. They
Oof.
still put everything behind it like they wanted it to be good. I wanted it to be good. So and maybe that's the problem is that, Disney got this stinker and they know that it can't be a stinker and they're trying really, really hard to get it as close to Disney Marvel standards as they can.
Well, there's a lot to be said for when this comes out in August, and I would love to know what everyone's thoughts are. Leave a comment down below and let us know. And with that, let's move to Disney. Also, another thing that they have acquired in a Broadway show, Hamilton. We've got news that they're going to be releasing Hamilton on their Disney Plus streaming service in July, I believe. I think this is fantastic news. Coming from someone that watched the show in Salt Lake and listened to the soundtrack, I just think that this is a win. And I'd love to know because there's definitely a difference here because Hamilton was supposed to come out, I believe, in theaters a little bit later on. And for them to put this up on streaming is the exact opposite of what they're wanting with New Mutants. What do you think of Hamilton, first of all, if you've seen it before? And what do you think about them putting this on streaming so soon?
I'll let Disney Girl go.
Yeah, I have not seen Hamilton. I know what Hamilton is. And I have listened to the soundtrack and I definitely know what it is. This is a big step for them because they were hoping to make a ton of money off of this release in theaters. And for them to say, you know what, we want to put it on Disney Plus. I think this was a little bit of, we have a lot of people at home that can't afford to go see this. And this is a big win for us to have Disney Plus. I think it was also a stock choice as well. Because the minute that they announced that in the last couple of days, people have been chattering, okay, there's stuff coming. The last big stock day for Disney was when The Mandalorian behind the scenes hit. So they're a little uneasy over there at Disney right now, and they're not used to being in that position. But I think it's great because you do have people that are at home that can afford Disney Plus, but cannot afford to go to a show. Of course, Broadway is going to be shut down for a long time now. They're still not going to be reopening. And so I think they're hitting all of these different points that people are hungry for. They've got something that could go well in theaters and on TV. And yeah, I think Patrick, like what you said, is they're going to open it on Disney Plus, and then probably like 6 months from now, they're going to do a special 2-week run of it in the theaters. It's going to be totally sold out. Then they're going to do a sing-along weekend, 2 weeks after that. Like, they're going to milk it. They're going to do what they're going to do. We're going to get our in-theater experience and our at-home experience. But I think this was a super smart move from Disney.
You bring up such a great point, because there's a very big difference between the ability to reach people with New Mutants versus the availability that Hamilton has been able to basically been scarce for most people. You have to at least be able to go to the Broadway show, and they're traveling, and you might not be in a town that could get there. So this is a huge opportunity for tons of people to watch the show. Chaz, have you seen Hamilton? What are your thoughts about this?
I have not. I think I've heard one song a couple weeks ago when John Krasinski did like a surprise good news thing, and the whole Hamilton cast.
Oh, good.
sang
You
a
like
song.
good news? Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love that show.
It's so
Yeah, but I think that's as much as I know about Hamilton. I know like a lot of people love it, and I honestly the only person I know from that is Lin-Manuel Miranda from Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is not a Disney show at all. So I
love that show.
That show is so
No,
great.
he could be a great Geppetto.
Yeah, seriously. And so I know nothing about the show. I have been curious about seeing it because I don't mind Broadway at all. This like or Valerie was saying, sorry. This definitely kind of opens the doors for people to see it who haven't had an opportunity to. And like you both hit on the head, like it's gonna be in theaters. It's gonna have a sing along, kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody did for the longest time. So I'm curious to see what it is exactly, and I'm just looking forward to it.
I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means as far as like Lin-Manuel getting, because isn't he doing The Little Mermaid? He's doing the score for that, right? He's got so many deals with Disney. It's no wonder.
Yeah, he did a couple of the songs from Mary Poppins Returns, which I didn't care for, but good for him. Yeah, I like him for sure. I didn't
They
really
had a
care
Hamilton
for that
break
movie.
dance right in the middle of that thing that just was so out of place.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yep. Well, we'll leave it at that because I think I've got us pumped up enough to jump into our first legal debate. It is movie court.
Sir, you're out of order. Out of order. I show you
And
out of
today's
order.
topic
I want the
selected
truth. You
is,
can't handle the
which
truth.
superhero do you think needs to be rebooted in this day and age? Let's pretend that COVID didn't happen, people, because that's a better world, right? Can we just pretend that? And now we have the ability to either take a character that has existed at one point, is existing, or hasn't even been put onto the silver screen and it needs a debut. Who are you casting in it, and what are your reasons? I have no structure for this. I only wanted to hear a lively debate. So I'm going to first start with Chaz on this and see who your selection was, and then Valerie, get your selection, and then we'll go with
You're not going to
reasons.
like my answer at all, so.
I'm so ready. There's no judgment on this.
Okay, here's my
Except for
question.
Oh, I'm not
important.
worried about
There's
it.
a
I
judge
just
and
know you're
all
not going to
that
like
stuff.
it.
No.
Now, do we have to say it has to be rebooted, or can we say something else?
I think it's whatever you want your answer to be.
I hope there's no rules because
There's no loopholes. I'm not tricking anybody with this.
I didn't follow the rules.
I'm tricking
You
anyone.
do you.
I'll just say superhero. If I had to choose to be rebooted, I'd say Blade. But like honestly, I'm so sick of superhero movies being rebooted and characters revived. I kind of want to see something that nobody's even fucking heard of at all and shine new light on new areas.
You get Studley clap on that
Um,
one. So that non-answer was BS. So it's
Whatever.
Blade. Yes.
I agree.
I'm
It's
just
the
kidding.
same answer.
No, I
My answer
think it's a
is
fair
stop
point.
remaking movies. Like stop rebooting movies. Like there are so many superheroes that I want to see a movie of. Like stop rebooting. Make it good the first time you make it. I want to see Bishop. I want to see Spider-Woman. I want to see The Flash. I want to see Deathstroke. I want to see Union Jack. Like I want to see all of these movies that deserve a movie. And all of these movies that are being pushed back, like I want to see Black Panther 2. Why do you keep pushing that movie back? Because they keep putting new crap in there and rebooting the same characters over and over. I mean, if I have to choose one, but it's past his time, I want to see a new Hulk movie because I love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, but we're past that. We're not going to get it. It's past like even being relevant anymore. But if you would have said 4 years ago, I would have said the Hulk. Today I say stop and start making new superhero movies.
Yeah, because like, so for me, I don't read comics, so I don't know many comic book heroes that have not been made already in the movies. So the last movie that surprised me, for example, that like I had no idea it even existed was Ant-Man. And
yes!
and I was a huge fan of, like, I actually really liked Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2 for that matter. And so for me, who's not a comic book reader, if they revive these characters that like nobody's even heard of, like that's more exciting than like doing another Spider-Man or doing another Batman. And I love Batman, but like Robert Pattinson's probably the last one that I actually want to see for a while. So I really hope that's what they can do down the road.
Sorry, not much of a court. We agree.
That concludes this session of movie court.
High
Everyone
five,
enjoy
Chaz.
the
High
time
five.
that everyone had a good time. Everybody was nice. There's no need for a judge because there was no argument to begin with.
Wait, can we hear your? What's your side? Like,
Yeah,
I
what
didn't
about
have an
you?
answer.
You thought
I just
of
wanted
this.
to pick at you to see what would happen. But y'all called my goddamn bluff. I don't know. I agree with both of you that we're heading down the road where just rebooting characters, it's old news. Nobody wants it anymore. And I mean, that being said, there are some movies that are in the pipeline that I would, if they had the ability to recast, like Val, you mentioned Flash. I just don't want Ezra Miller in it anymore.
I just want a Flash movie. Just give me a good Flash movie. I don't care.
I don't want it
who
written
Flash
by
is.
Ezra Miller, though. I don't want him with this weird creative control stuff and choking out girls and when his daytime stuff. Or
What?
You didn't see that story?
No.
This dude is I'm sure a great actor, and I'm sure there's a ton of stress with paparazzi. But yeah, he lightly to very much choked a girl on the street wanting to get a picture. And it's
Okay.
but that's not the reason I don't want him as Flash. The main reason I don't want him as Flash is because I think his character just is not as three-dimensional as people wanted him to be in Justice League. And at this point, Justice League is so much in the rear view, and nobody's even talking about it, wanting to do a sequel for it, except for that, really.
There are some people talking about it. It's just not good talk.
It's not good talk. Yeah, it's either, why is this still here, or where's the Snyder Cut? And neither have productive answers. And so I think picking at that with, I don't know, there's something holding this
To
film
me,
back.
like
and I
the
don't know what it
Justice
is.
League is that. To me, Justice League is like that friend from high school that shows up to your friend's wedding, drunk and out of control, and everybody's talking about it 4 years later. Hey, remember when that guy showed up and we thought he was going to be really fun because he was in high school, but at your wedding, he really wasn't that fun. Like, that's what I feel like Justice
He still
League
wears
is
the
right
he still wears the Letterman jacket, and it's just really tight. And it's like, that doesn't even look like you have muscles anymore. It's just bloated out.
He just doesn't give up at all and keeps going.
Well, yeah, that I think we will evolve this segment because it's honestly, I think when it comes to these things, half of it is the host having to come up with a good way to make it engaging and worth wanting to debate. So, challenge accepted. One of you stuck here. Val's probably never coming back.
Why would you say that? I'm having a good time.
Woohoo! Well, that's nice. And I guess that we can wrap up with that. Thank you, Val, for coming onto the show. We do
Oh, I don't
have-
get to stick around for Capone. I don't get to make fun of it with you guys.
Have you seen it? Do you want to be with us for it? Sure.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but I can still make fun of it, right?
Oh, hell yeah, you can.
Sure. Yeah, we can. Do we want
I
to
want to
do this
hear
right now?
from
Let's do
you
it right
guys
now. That
whether
makes it
or
so much
not
easier.
I should see this movie. Like,
Oh my God, what am I
want to
doing?
know what you guys think.
All right, let's do this. Let's talk Capone, man. I didn't put notes up, but there's enough to talk about with this thing. And the opening for this video is the Capone video that I made last night and this morning, which I'm so sorry, everybody, for doing that, for putting that on the internet. I'll never get a job
So
again.
Was this movie, so it's Capone with Tom Hardy, was it supposed to be released in the movie theater and they just decided to start streaming it last week?
I believe, I don't know. I'm assuming the most that are coming into streaming right now did have at one point a theatrical release. Let me check.
Do you guys think it
Wikipedia, though.
deserved a theatrical release
fuck
from what
no.
you saw?
No. Here's
No,
the thing. So,
not at all.
so the first trailer was released on April 15th. And they're like, aha, surprise. It really feels like a surprise trailer. Like, I don't think anybody really knew exactly what to expect, except that there was a project called Fonzo that he was working on. That's it, with Tom Hardy. That's literally all we knew. And then they're like, surprise. And then they released it on demand. But the company, I don't know if you noticed this, Patrick, but Redbox Entertainment had stuff to do with it.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah, so it's...
Well,
I think
that
that's why-
explains it all. Well, here comes a rant, damn it.
So I think
This
that's
is
why
related
it
to
became
Movie
on
Pass?
VOD.
This has Movie Pass ties. This has Movie Pass ties.
I loved my movie pass while it worked.
Well, it was great for the consumer if you got out quick. When they were starting to be like, let's forget and maybe charge them another month or something like that. But of course it is. And you know what's funny? This stunk of Gotti to me. Did it not?
I never saw Gotti.
Gotti.
I saw
Hey,
Gotti. Okay.
So let's take Gotti and let's make him asthmatic and hardly intelligible. You have no idea what Tom Hardy is saying in this. To break it down, this is kind of at the older times of Al Capone's life. He's been released from prison. He's living his later lives in Florida. He has dementia. There's this mystery about him having a fortune that either he's making up or that it actually exists. Matt Dillon stars as one of the people kind of searching for it. You don't know if his doctor's in on trying to find out. There's other gangs and mobsters coming in and out. You think there's a lot of suspense to that story. But there's not. It's ridiculous. Chaz, what do you think first of just Tom Hardy's persistence of wanting to have a voice like he has?
I don't know. I even tried to find footage, like documentaries of Capone talking, like interviews, like old ones. But he died back in the 40s, so like interviews weren't really like a huge thing back then.
But you could hear enough to know there's no fucking way that was his voice, right?
Yeah, there's no
my
fucking
gosh.
way. No.
And here's what happened. I looked up a video about his voice, about the Capone voice and all that, because I was looking it up too. And there was this video at the bottom. It came out a year ago. Tom Hardy's inspiration for his Capone voice. Have you any guesses? Have you seen anything about it? Bugs
Johnny
Bunny.
Depp.
Bugs
Bunny?
Bunny.
What the fuck?
So imagine...
Why?
That's my question. Why is he insisting on doing stuff like this? It seems like he just didn't
My
take
dog
it seriously.
just looked at me like, what?
Dude, that's like, it's probably because he has a carrot stuck in his fucking mouth throughout like the whole movie almost.
Maybe that, oh my God, that explains it. Because we're going to do spoilers in this. I'm sorry, Val, if that's, yeah. It was gonna
No,
be
this
kind of a
is
spoiler.
great.
So
I don't even care. Yeah.
with the carrot, basically the dementia is causing a lot of health issues, including him smoking cigars constantly. So at one point, the doctor has to swap it out for a carrot. And so for half the time, he's got a carrot shoved in his mouth, which I didn't make the parallel of Bugs Bunny. That's whack, dude. If he really thought that was... If he thought that was... That's Jared Leto character acting, but like, if he were a 5-year-old. Oh, he has carrot. So I'll put carrot in my mouth. I'll sound like Bugs Bunny. That's exactly what Tom Hardy said.
Bugs Bunny with like cigar lung throat voice.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie just to see how bad. Okay, so did they age him in this movie then? They aged Tom Hardy?
He has prosthetics. He has enough prosthetics. He's got the scar.
And does that look cool?
Part. Yeah, he looks the part.
Okay.
He totally does look
because
like Al Capone.
I love the history of Al Capone. Like when you guys told me about this movie, I was like, I would like to watch this because I love documentaries. I love to watch, movies about history and about historical people. But you guys, it sounds like a shit show.
Well, I would say it's worth a watch. What do you say?
Well, the thing is, so this isn't a biography on Al Capone. What Josh Trank expects us to do is know a lot about Capone's life. And to be fair, like, he's been covered in all these gangster movies. He's been the influence of all the gangster movies. So, like, of course you'd think a lot of people knew about Capone. A lot of people didn't know that he suffered from neurosyphilis, which is where this movie picks up. So, like, he's already going downhill when the movie starts. And so the movie has like a lot of surrealistic stuff because it plays with the dementia and like, are these just memories coming back to him? Like, all that stuff. But it doesn't give into that at all. And like a lot of it comes off as phony. And like, there's 2 scenes where he shits himself, for hell's sake. And like, we're forced to watch it and like, be like, it's so repulsive. And that I think that's what pisses me off the most, is that like, it's so over the top, like in your face, being like, haha, because Josh Trank is known. So like with Fantastic Four, there was a lot of studio involvement. We know how pissed off he was at that. Like, we know how pissed off he was at that. This movie feels like the middle finger to studios being like, aha, you had no control over me. Look what I can do. Force viewers to watch Tom Hardy shit in a bed and while being interviewed by FBI agents. Like,
oh, well, poor Linda Cardellini having
seriously.
to be the wife laying in bed next to him with the most realistic diarrhea I think I've ever seen in my life. Realistically horrifying. And like, I don't inspect that, so I'm not an expert on it, but it looked terrifying. And just with his horrible Bugs Bunny voice, he's just like, he's half the time he can't tell what he's saying. It's just random like noises. And he's got a lot of good supporting cast that are doing their best. And you think that it's kind of like a Cats situation where they were all behind the scenes watching Tom Hardy do this, and they were like, oh my God, this is it. This is the Oscar. This is the thing that'll get him up there. And he's like just pissed himself for real, because that's the method acting he chose, wandering around, just talking like Bugs Bunny. It's worth a watch in the same sense I would say that The Room is.
I'm pretty sure that if I was in a movie and it said that my character had to pee himself, I wouldn't be against that. Like, I would totally pee myself in a movie. However, I don't think that I would actually shit myself on screen. I mean, I don't know how much you got paid for this movie. Maybe I would.
Well, I don't think he shit himself on screen.
What would you have to do to prepare for that? Because I like my own time. I like to get into the bathroom. I like to swing my leg, my feet. I like to take my time, and to have to do that in front of people, like.
Do you think Tom ordered like a squatty potty just to make sure that like when he had to do the method acting?
I don't know.
But like in like.
Horrifying. It sounds horrifying.
It's a great horror film.
Let me give this credit where credit's due, because I do think it's actually a well shot film. It looks really good.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff that they have in this, when they go into, you mentioned kind of like the more fantastic parts of it where you don't know if it's real or not. It's very much like Scorsese with Shutter Island, and I enjoyed watching those bits. Yeah. It just is. It's if you've got this main character where everything is surrounded by him, and you've got a voice that if you can't get past it, you can't get past anything, really. Right. It all is kind of a farce. But if you can strap in, there's a few moments, I think, where I was a little bit more engaged than anything, especially towards the end. It does have a pretty big, like, climactic ending, but it's a lot of slow Tom Hardy just getting to do whatever he wanted. Like Venom, he got to do whatever he wanted, right? He got to jump into the lobster tank. He got to bite the heads off and do whatever he wanted. This, it feels like, because you were saying maybe Josh Trank was like, I'll do whatever I want. Maybe he said that first, and then Tom Hardy said, yeah, but you're that director that did Fantastic Four. This is my movie. And he's just going to write, I don't know whose choices it was to do this.
I don't know. I think, like you said, is like, if you're going to make this movie, and it sounds like to me this is kind of the Logan of Capone, right? They're showing someone that was this big anti-hero, but also hero to some people, right? And now you're showing the diminishing of his life. You're taking him off of his throne. You're taking his power away. He shits the bed. Like, so you're basically killing a hero in this movie. And if you're going to do that and you're going to do Capone and you just, we just had Joker. Like we had that movie, so you're at this point, you want to push all of those, buttons, and you want to make sure that you make something that people have never seen before. Like you said, we've seen a million Al Capone or, shoot 'em up kind of movies like that. This doesn't sound like that. This sounds like we just took a superhero out of a superhero, outlet, put him in the real world and watched him deteriorate. So yeah, I think they're hoping for the Oscar, but it sounds like they shit the bed themselves.
No, seriously, like this movie has like shit stains written all over it.
That was awesome.
But my question, like, so like
gross. That sound is gross.
my main issue is that like they didn't give him any like human traits at all. Like he was already gone when we first meet him.
Yeah.
And so the whole entire film we're just watching this crazed old man like, get off my lawn for whatever fucking reason. And like I wonder, because like I know he got neurosyphilis. Like this is where I did some research, because I'm like, okay, how the fuck did he get syphilis? Like that's what I would want to know, because not a lot of people knew that, right?
Asking the questions, we're all here to.
And it turns so when a boy and a girl,
right? When I thought that's what it was. Like he used to test prostitutes for this guy he used to work with. Like that was his job, was to test prostitutes. And that's where he got it, and he never got it cured. And so when he was in prison, his whole mind started deteriorating, and then they let him out.
Yeah.
So, but we don't see that at all. And like, I wonder if like we saw that backstory, at least him getting out of prison, and like if that would give him some human traits at all. Because I know he was like an evil man. Like, I mean, he was a piece of shit, like killing people left and right, and was like very corrupt and whatever. But even then, like they have
people
flaws.
Seem to like put him in that, they don't see that he's real, and so they think that he's kind of cool because he did all of that. But yeah, he was a pretty crappy person. But I agree with you. I think if we would have seen, and I haven't seen the movie, but from what you're describing to me, I didn't know that part about him. And if we would have seen that, where he was kind of up here, and then you kind of see where it took him, maybe you would have cared about it a little bit more.
Because like, I mean, like here's like the slope, like of him going downhill. We start like right here and just watch him go downhill. I mean, like we just start right in the middle of him going downhill already. So to me, that did nothing at all. And like, I just thought it was Josh Trank putting a middle finger up to the studios. I mean, kudos to him for doing that. And he got to make Tom Hardy shit himself in bed. Like, who can say?
I don't know if he made him. Right. Tom Hardy's like, yeah, made me do that. Yeah.
No. But I mean, like, he got Tom Hardy to be a part of this film in some sense and go crazy. And I mean, you see Tom Hardy. I mean, I think one of the coolest shots is like you see him holding like a golden Tommy gun and going on a shooting spree in a diaper.
In the final act, yeah.
Like how fucking cool is that? Yeah.
Is that going to be your Halloween costume, Patrick?
Oh.
Well, I've already got lots of pieces of it, if you will see later on. But I agree. And really the only redeeming thing that they try to add in is with his son that's estranged from a different family. They do try to give that connection, but it's so weak. They just, every once in a while a phone call comes and he'll pick it up and go, and hang up, and that's it. And the end, they make it a big moment, like we've been waiting for it, but they didn't prep us enough at all. So it's like, oh shit, that kid's back. Oh, okay. That's all right.
And like even after it ended, I had no idea it was his son until Patrick
was
talking. I thought it was like a lover that he possibly got syphilis from. Like that's the connection I made.
Right.
And so I had to do further research into it, and like because like these movies that glorified Capone didn't do the dark side of him, like the downfall, like so I just think that's where the movie hit or missed the mark.
Well, it didn't miss the mark as far as critics and audiences agreeing, both sitting at around 41% and 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just kind of a stinker. Valerie put it best when she said it shit the bed. What's your rating for it though? We got to get a rating.
Mine? 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
I almost went 1.5 out of 5, but I'm like, no, I'll give it 2. Like he shit himself in bed. Like nobody could say that.
Commitment.
Like,
I'd probably I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Like it's It just doesn't have enough to make it like a full movie. I wish he does more films. I want to see more of what Josh Trank does. I feel bad the Boba Fett stuff didn't work out with him, and Van Forstick is whatever it is. But
Well, I
I
mean,
ain't looking for a Trank cut.
well,
I'll just say that.
I guess my question though is that, like, is there a reason they got involved with Fantastic Four? Because he was going off the rails like he kind of did with Capone.
Oh, well, there's lots of stories about it with his drinking, with his apartment that he destroyed with his dog, like $10,000 worth of property damage. He was belligerent to the actors on set, going on them while he was drinking on set. Like, there was a lot of things that were back and forth, but there's to plug a good interview with Christian Harloff where he does a one-on-one with Josh Trank recently, and they talk about Fantastic Four. So I would maybe say that might have some answers. But I don't know. That's our thing with that. A quick viewer question that we have. This is coming from Jay Moore, and his question is kind of what we've been talking about towards the beginning, is about streaming services. Hey guys, are streaming services still worth it? Are we as a people still doing so much for entertainment as home-only entertainment because of the pandemic? And are we wasting money because we want to see only certain shows? Thank you for that, Jay. Well, I guess I'll start with that. I think we definitely have a lot of streaming services that are putting out tons of content that aren't necessarily like what we're anticipating. Like, most of the movie releases are what everyone's looking for. Nobody suspected the Tiger King documentary to come out, but still it's gripping stuff. So I think you're onto something when it comes to that. But streaming services are more worth it now than they've ever been, particularly with what they're doing with Disney. With Mandalorian season 2, which I'm sorry we couldn't cover the news with you yet last week for this, Valerie, because you are a Mandalorian yourself, and yeah, there's lots of stuff down the pipeline with lots of streaming services. So I don't think Quibi's going down, and fuck that streaming service. We are anti-Quibi. No?
What's
yeah,
Quibi?
We're anti-Quibi. Yeah, it's the stupid service that is in 10-minute increments. Each episode is 10 minutes. And it's like they try to make a full movie, but they only give you 10-minute snippets. So Reno 911, but only 10-minute each time. And if you want to watch the show and turn it vertically, it totally cuts the entire bit of it. So you just get one little portion, like what they do on Instagram. It's the worst. And they think those are the good parts of it. It's like if MoviePass made a streaming service.
Ouch.
I am so anti them, and they're going down. It's fine. They're already blaming.
I think that if you've already had like one of the big cable places like Comcast, and you've paid the $200 and whatever a month so you can have all of the channels that you want, I think that you understand the benefits of having all of the streaming services, because I have like 4 streaming services and I get a crap ton of great content, and I'm not paying as much as I was when I had, one of the bigger named cable companies. So I am one of the people that actually watches all the documentaries and the comedy series on. So my dog wants to play with me.
It's a doggy.
On
Is
Netflix.
there a doggy behind you? Show.
I have 2 dogs. Yeah. So like I go to Netflix and to Amazon Prime to watch the documentaries, the docuseries, and the comedy shows, live comedy, stand-up comedy. So yes, I want to see the movies, but I get to see the movies no matter what. So I am that person that wants to see that content that I didn't know I wanted to see. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I have these. So I think they're fantastic. I think Netflix and Amazon have put out so much good stuff. I just got done watching a series on Hulu. Hulu's a little newer for me. I didn't have Hulu until a couple months ago. But yeah, I think they're definitely worth it. I don't think they're going away. I think this basically just pushed us to where we thought we would be 2 years from now, that now this is our world, and the technology for getting this to us, the streaming to us, is now pushed forward. This is my dog, Samson.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, get out of here. We need to see her full screen. Hey, a puppy. Oh, well, I want to know the doggy's thoughts.
He just wants me to play.
Well, Chaz, what do
I've
you
been
think?
talking too much today.
It's so cute.
I think streaming services. Hold on, I'm looking at the question one more time.
He kind of gave you like it gives us a two-parter. If they're worth it, and if people are only watching it because of the pandemic.
No, so like I think they're worth it because like there is a lot of movies and TV shows out there that like are worth watching. I mean, it might not hit the chords with like the mainstream stuff, but like there's fan bases that are stemmed off of that, you know. And like some of my shows on Netflix that I like what was it called? Had a
That's what it's called.
Sounds amazing.
Oh,
I think it's Friends from College. I think that's what it was called.
ooh, yeah.
Yeah. And like that got like awful reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it for like what it had to offer, and I laughed really hard at parts, but it got canceled and that got me sad. So I think that's the only downside of streaming services is if they don't get enough viewers, then they're gonna get canceled. So it leaves those who did like it left hanging. But I mean that's kind of business, you know?
That's regular TV though.
Yeah.
I mean that's the same as regular TV. So
right, and like I
That's
don't have cable. So like I for someone who doesn't have cable, I actually rely on streaming services to get my TV shows out there. And my one beef with them is I think Netflix could include something that's leaving that month, like a whole category leaving this month, you know, or leaving this week or whatever.
That actually would be a good idea.
To
I know that they've
highlight
got
those
like
movies.
a cheat code list of tons of different like genres you can look up, but I doubt they've even made that list.
Yeah, and because like I know that's what HBO does, and I think HBO is kind for including the movies that are going to leave that month, so you could watch them before you know they
Mhm.
leave. But like what Amazon Prime does, which is smart, is because they put ads in front of their movies. And what Hulu does not do is put the ads before the movies. They put it throughout. I mean, they put it throughout the movies, but not through the TV shows. They put the ads throughout the TV show, and that makes me less inclined to watch Hulu, and that's to get them to pay for the premium. And I get that, but like, I got my Hulu through Spotify, so tough luck.
Well, that's what we think about that, Jay. Thank you for commenting. If you guys would like to leave any comments or viewer questions for next episode, make sure to leave a comment on our Instagram, our Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And I want to thank Valerie Campbell for coming on the show and being amazing and just, kicking ass for this. Please tell people where they can find you on all the stuff that you're doing.
you can find me at moviesmakesus.com, and we are a member of the Stolen Droid family. So if you go to stolendroid.com, you can find all of my shows plus all of the other shows from my Stolen Droids family. I'm also on B98.7 every weekday morning from 5 to 9, so you can find me there. On all the social medias, it's I am Val Cameron. Thanks.
All right. And Chaz, my friend, as always, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you? And what are you working on? Why does it cut to me? Go ahead.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at your boy Chaz. And I am just working on stuff, just writing projects and stuff.
Nice. Make sure to check out us on iTunes, rate and review us. Make sure to check out our merchandise store where we have new designs that are coming out on TeePublic. And thank you once again to my guests. We will see you at the next review.